Okay, ladies and gents, what's up? Back again with some more Manchester United content here on this channel. So let's talk about Antony here, because obviously I noticed that some people have been criticizing Antony for his performances with United recently, since, you know, United, they paid 82 mil for Antony, something like that. And in my honest opinion, let me just say for the record that I think people need to lower their expectations of Antony and allow him just to, you know, continue to adapt to United and Erik ten Hag's system. Because here's the thing with Antony, man, you know, me personally, I am a big fan of Antony. I think he's one of the most exciting players on this current Manchester United squad, and I think it's kind of ridiculous that people are already quick to criticize him because he had, what, 2 or 3 bad games. That it makes you realize here that people need to just basically understand that Antony, he's not going to develop into the next Ryan Giggs overnight, okay? And the reason why I'm saying this is because I feel like people are expecting him just like that to develop into the next Ryan Giggs, and it's like, it doesn't work that way, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, getting players that are just that have a whole career ahead of him, just like Jadon Sancho, for example. You know, I obviously hope that Jadon Sancho develops well at United, and I personally think that people just need to give Antony more time to develop at the club, you know, learn the system at United, because obviously if you compare the Eredivisie and the Premier League, it's on a whole nother level compared to the Dutch league. And, you know, with Antony here, man, obviously at the World Cup, it didn't help that he barely got any playing time just because of just how insane the depth that the Brazilian national team has. And I think to myself that, you know, if basically United and if basically people just continue to let to let Antony just start in United games, and that if they just continue to let him basically learn the system, then I firmly believe that if people just continue to just trust the process with Antony, then I do believe he can develop into a solid all-around winger at United. Because it's like, you know, the most ridiculous thing that Erik ten Hag can do at this point at United is drop Antony. Like, dropping Antony is not the answer the way how I see it. Because God forbid if ten Hag does drop Antony, then it's just going to make the Antony signing look really, really bad, especially with all that money that United paid for Antony. And obviously some people have been saying that United have overpaid for Antony. Now, to an extent, maybe United did overpay for Antony, but obviously since Erik ten Hag kept pushing to, you know, get Antony at United, obviously that's the reason why United paid all that money for Antony. And now that they did pay all that money, the only thing people just gotta do right now is just basically, you know, let Antony learn from his mistakes, because obviously, look, this is just his first season at United. He's not instantly going to develop into the next Ryan Giggs at United, okay? That I think to myself that if people just expect him to develop into the next Ryan Giggs like that, then I think they are putting way too much pressure on Antony. Because people gotta realize football players, they are humans too at the end of the day, and, you know, not every football player is going to develop into the next all-great player in just under one season. It doesn't work that way, especially in the Premier League, or thinking he's going to develop into the next prime Chelsea Hazard. Now, the way how I see it with Antony, so far, I think he's doing a very decent job at United, especially his defensive work rate. Like, I think that so far the best trait that Antony has brought to Manchester United is just his defensive work rate. That I just think to myself that if United just give up on Antony right now, then it's just going to make the club look like complete idiots, especially with all that money they paid for him. It's like, since you paid all that money for Antony, the thing you can do right now is just start him in games and allow him to continue to flourish under ten Hag's system. Because if United fans can just learn to be patient for once with Antony and just basically, you know, let him develop, let him learn ten Hag's system for his first season at United, then maybe next season he can develop into a top solid winger in the Premier League. But right now, in my honest opinion, I think that people are a bit too harsh on Antony right now, because like I said before, it didn't help that he didn't get a lot of minutes with Brazil at the World Cup. That it makes you realize here that Antony, man, he's only 22 and people just need to give him time to develop. Same with Jadon Sancho. Then I think to myself that not only can Antony work wonders at United, but maybe Jadon Sancho can still work wonders at United too. But I just think to myself that if ten Hag can continue to start Antony in games and just not put him on the bench, then I think sooner or later Antony could finally gain more confidence and he can finally develop into a great all-around winger.